Excellencies, leaders and of tourism and friends, mahaba and a very good afternoon to you all. I'm Becky Anderson from CNN International, and I am honoured once again to be moderating today's UNWTO ATM Ministerial Forum in this, the UN's International Year of Tourism for Sustainable Development. CNN is a very proud partner with the UNWTO, working with the global tourism industry, as you well know, here in the MENA region and around the world. Our clear objective is to grow the global tourism sector for the benefit of all. All this is the Secretary General's last ATM with us, of course, in his distinguished role. May I, sir, before I go on, thank you so much, Taleb, on behalf of the industry for everything that you have done for them and for us personally at CNN. Thank you. We truly value our partnership and our friendship with you. So to officially open our session today, please join me in extending a very warm welcome to His Excellency Mr. Mohammed Al-Muhairi, who is Undersecretary of Tourism for the United Arab Emirates. Sir, the floor is yours.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أرحب بكم في بلدكم الثاني الإمارات، وأتمنى أن تستمتعوا بطيب الإقامة. واسمحوا لي بداية أن أبلغكم رسالة من معالي المهندس سلطان بن سعيد المنصوري الذي أبلغني إبلاغكم تحياته واعتذار عن عدم الحضور لظرف طارئ جدا حصل خارج الإرادة، وأبلغني تمنياته بأن يكون اجتماعكم هذا إن شاء الله اجتماعا مثمر. اسمحوا لي قبل المضي في كلمتي أن أتوجه بالشكر إلى جميع الحاضرين من منظمة السياحة العالمية ومن الأخوة الوزراء والمسؤولين في القطاع السياحي في دول المنطقة وممثلي القطاع الخاص في مختلف هذه البلدان. إن مشاركتكم اليوم في هذه الفعالية الرائدة تعكس الحرص على العمل يداً بيد لرسم مستقبل أفضل للقطاع السياحي في بلداننا، وتعزيز التعاون للارتقاء بدوره في رفض اقتصاداتنا بمقومات جديدة للتنوع والتنافسية والنمو المستدام. السادة الحضور، لعلنا متفقون على أن السياحة أثبتت نفسها كأحد الركائز الرئيسية للتنمية الاقتصادية والاجتماعية في مختلف الدول، وما زال هذا القطاع يشهد نمواً متزايداً عاماً بعد عام، وتدخل في نطاقه كل فترة مدن ومقاصد سياحية جديدة ومتميزة. وعندما نتحدث عن أهمية السياحة فلا بد أن نتذكر مرة أخرى إنها باتت تساهم بنحو 10% من الناتج المحلي الإجمالي العالمي، وتستحوذ على أكثر من 9% من القوى العاملة في العالم، وعلى 30% من صادرات الخدمات، و7% من إجمالي الصادرات العالمية. هذه الأرقام والمؤشرات تقدم دليلاً واضحاً حول الإمكانات الضخمة التي ينطوي عليها هذا القطاع، وقدراته على أن يكون محركاً قوياً ومستداماً لجهود التنمية والتطوير في بلداننا، وجسراً نحو تحقيق الازدهار الذي تنشده مجتمعاتنا. لا شك في أن منطقة الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا تمثل أحد الوجهات السياحية المؤهلة لتكون ضمن المقاصد السياحية الرائدة في العالم، نظراً إلى عوامل الجذب والمقومات السياحية الهائلة التي تمتلكها من تاريخ وآثار وتنوع طبيعي وغنى ثقافي وحضاري وكفاءات بشرية وبنى تحتية متطورة وموقع استراتيجي يتوسط العالم. ومن منطلق هذه الحقيقة الواضحة أعتقد أننا اليوم أمام مرحلة جديدة من النمو السياحي تتطلب تعاوناً أكبر لضمان الاستفادة المثلى من الفرص التي يقدمها هذا القطاع وتفعيل العمل الجاد وتوطيد الشراكة وتبادل الخبرات والمعارف على المستويين الحكومي والخاص بين دولنا للتغلب على أي تحديات تواجه مساعينا لتطوير قطاعاتنا السياحية وتعزيز تنافسيتها وتعظيم قدراتها على المساهمة في مسيرة التنمية الشاملة المستدامة لدولنا. ونحن على ثقة بأن هذا المنتدى الوزاري للدول الأعضاء بمنظمة السياحة العالمية والذي يقام ضمن فعاليات ملتقى السفر العربي لهذا العام يمثل منصة مهمة لبحث أفضل السبل والوسائل لتطوير ثمار النمو السياحي وكذلك ليصب في خدمة أهدافنا التنموية. الأخوة والأخوات، يمثل القطاع السياحي بدولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة منذ مطلع هذا القرن أحد أبرز محاور الاهتمام والتركيز ضمن الرؤى والسياسات التنموية التي تتبناها الدولة، وباعتباره ركناً من أركان التنوع الاقتصادي والاستدامة وقاطرة رئيسية نحو مرحلة ما بعد النفط. وتتمتع دولة الإمارات بمقومات سياحية متميزة وجاذبة في مقدمتها التنوع الطبيعي والموروث الثقافي الفني والبيئة والبنية التحتية المتطورة والداعمة لهذا القطاع مثل شبكات ومرافق النقل الجوي والبحري والبري المتطورة وقطاع طيران قوي وناقلات وطنية عملاقة ومنافسة عالميا واستخدام واسع لتكنولوجيا المعلومات والاتصالات، فضلاً عن سلسلة رائدة من الفنادق والمرافق السياحية الراقية في ظل حالة راسخة من الأمن والاستقرار وثقافة الانفتاح والتعايش السلمي. وجاءت توجهات القيادة الرشيدة لتؤكد ضرورة جعل السياحة جزءاً أساسياً من مسيرة التطور في الدولة وتوظيف هذه المقومات السياحية الواسعة التي تمتع بها الدولة لرفد الاقتصاد الوطني بإيرادات مستدامة ومتنامية وتعظيم دور القطاع في توليد فرص العمل، وفي إطار رؤية الحكومة لبناء اقتصاد تنافسي متنوع ومستدام وعالي الإنتاجية يقوم على المعرفة والابتكار بقيادة كفاءات وطنية. تتضافر الجهود الوطنية ضمن استراتيجيات متكاملة لتعزيز تنافسية الدولة لتكون ضمن أفضل المقاصد السياحية المستدامة، وتعمل بصورة مستمرة على تنمية السياحة عبر تطوير منتجاتها وتحسين جودتها. والقراءة في أحد أهم المؤشرات التي حققتها السياحة الوطنية بحسب تقرير مجلس السياحة والسفر العالمي تطلعنا على ملامح نمو غير مسبوق الذي شهدته السياحة الإماراتية خلال السنوات الماضية. فقد بلغت نسبة المساهمة الإجمالية للقطاع في الناتج المحلي الإجمالي لعام 2016 12.1%، ومن المتوقع أن تزيد هذه النسبة بمعدل 4.9% خلال ال10 سنوات المقبلة، كما يوفر القطاع السياحي نحو 617,000 فرصة عمل في مختلف إمارات الدولة تمثل 10.4% من إجمالي قوة العمل. ويتوقع أن تزيد هذه المساهمة بنسبة 1.8% خلال العام الجاري. وبلغت الاستثمارات السياحية بالدولة إلى 26.2 مليار درهم، ما يعادل 7% من إجمالي الاستثمارات بالدولة خلال عام 2016، ومن المتوقع أن تصل إلى 74.5 مليار درهم بحلول عام 2027. إلى ذلك زادت نسبة الزوار إلى الإمارات في عام 2016 بنحو 5.5% مقارنة بعام 2015 ليصل عددهم إلى 24.8 مليون زائر أنفقوا نحو 110 مليار درهم، ويتوقع أن يرتفع هذا الإنفاق إلى 113.4 مليار درهم خلال العام الجاري، كما تشير التوقعات إلى ارتفاع أعدادهم إلى أن يصل 31.45 مليون زائر في عام 2027 بمعدل إنفاق يبلغ 184 مليار درهم. سيدات والسادة، أن استضافت دولة الإمارات لهذا المنتدى في إطار احتفالات العالم بإعلان الأمم المتحدة سنة 2017 لتكون السنة الدولية للسياحة المستدامة في سبيل التنمية تعكس حرصنا الأكيد على أن تكون جزءاً فاعلاً من الجهود العالمية لترسيخ مبادئ السياحة الخضراء والمستدامة وتكريس السياحة لتكون قاطرة حيوية لتحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة لعام 2030. ونعتقد أن جلسات النقاش القيمة التي سيحفل بهذا المنتدى كفيلة بالخروج بأفكار خلاقة ومبتكرة لسبل تعزيز مساهمة السياحة الداخلية والدولية في تحقيق النمو وبحث وسائل تنمية الاستثمار السياحي وتعظيم دور الابتكار في المنتجات والحلول السياحية وإقامة شراكات ناجحة على المستويين الحكومي والخاص لتطوير السياحة. والأهم من كل ذلك ضمان ترجمة النمو السياحي إلى تنمية شاملة ومستدامة لتحقق الرخاء والازدهار لكافة البلدان وشعوب العالم. أجدد شكري لكم جميعاً وأتمنى لكم طيب من الإقامة والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much indeed. Quick welcome to the stage now for Simon Press, who is the Senior Exhibitions Director of Reed Exhibitions. Simon.
Good afternoon, everybody. His Excellency Mr. Mohammed Al-Mahari, Under-Secretary of Tourism, United Arab Emirates. Secretary-General Talab Rifai, Honourable Ministers, distinguished guests and colleagues, a very warm welcome to Arabian Travel Market's third Ministerial Forum in association with the United Nations World Tourism Organization and with support from the Ministry of Economy of the United Arab Emirates. We run this forum every 2 years as part of Arabian Travel Market, and I'm delighted to be able to bring together key private and public sector leaders for this unique event for the Middle Eastern travel and tourism industry. The public and private sector working together in harmony to a common goal is, in my view, critical to delivering real change to the overall success of the global travel industry. Bringing the public and private sectors together to benefit the industry is one of the key attributes of Arabian Travel Market and the other industry-leading events in the WTM portfolio. The WTM portfolio also includes WTM Latin America, which had a highly successful event just a few weeks ago. WTM Africa just took place the other week, in fact last week, and of course WTM London in November. As a portfolio, we facilitate $7 billion in business deals as part of this aim to bring the private and public sectors together for the good of the industry. World Travel Market in London this November will host the 11th Ministers' Summit, which will focus on sustainable tourism as part of the UN's Year of Sustainable Development. The Middle East region saw international arrivals hit 54 million in 2016, 4 million more than back in 2014. Arabian Travel Market is proof of the confidence in the region's tourism industry. As an event, we have seen consecutive year-on-year participation growth since 2008. That's 8 years of growth. Furthermore, Arabian Travel Market 2016 was a record-breaking event, with attracting almost 40,000 participants, including a 7% increase in visitor numbers to 28,000, with 2,500 exhibitors taking part. An ATM facilitating a massive $2.5 billion worth of business deals. No pressure for this year, then. Today's topic, tourism contribution to sustainable economic growth and diversification in the MENA region, has the potential to assist and grow the region's tourism even further. The esteemed panel of public and private sector leaders will debate the impact of tourism has on the overall economy of the region, the jobs it creates directly, as well as the huge influence it has on other sectors of the region's economy. Finally, I'm delighted to see the large number of delegates in front of me. This, to me, demonstrates the potential power of both Arabian travel market and this ministerial forum. Ladies and gentlemen, it leaves me to wish you all a constructive and thought-provoking ministerial forum here today. And now it is my pleasure to hand over to my great friend, Talib Rifai, Secretary-General, UNWTO. Thank you, and enjoy and have a constructive debate. Thank you very much.
أصحاب المعالي، أصحاب السعادة، الإخوة الكرام، الأصدقاء جميعاً، اسمحوا لي أن أستأذنكم بالتحول بالحديث إلى لغة عالمية أخرى، وذلك لمصلحة ضيوفنا ولضمان أكبر قدر ممكن من الاندماج في عملية الاتصال مع بعضنا البعض. أستميحكم عذراً وأرحب بكم جميعاً في دولة الإمارات العربية في دبي، هذه الظاهرة النموذجية التي نتعلم منها الكثير. أشكركم على حضوركم. Excellency Mr. Mohammed Meheri, thank you so much for all what you have done to us. You've made us feel at home here at the United Arab Emirates. I'm particularly delighted that you have a very special guest with you, your very good son, Dahir. By the way, Dahir's pictures are all over Dubai for you that have not seen that. He's a wonderful, talented young man that has wanted to come and join us today. Thank you, Dahir, for being with us. Thank you. You must be a proud father, Muhammad. You must be. Becky, your charm is overwhelming. We're really counting on you to connect all of us as you connect the whole world in your daily lives. Thank you so much for being with us. Our partnership with CNN has been extremely, extremely useful and beneficial to all of us. And I'm sure that each and every one of you can feel the benefits of this and that you could make use and advantage of this. They have been a very responsible network, a very credible network, and a fantastic partner to all of us. Thank you, Becky. And please, through you, I'm going to send my best regards to all of our friends at CNN. Thank you, Becky. Dear Simon, Reeds and ATM have been our good partners all over the world. I remember we had similar experiments in London, and now it's become a tradition to do these things all over the world. Thank you. Your partnership has been exemplary, and I'm sure that it would hold the challenge of time, and we will go stronger and stronger. Thank you so much, Simon. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it's a great pleasure to welcome you here at the 2017 UNWTO ATM Ministerial Forum. This is an official event today that is part of the celebration of the 2017 as the International Year for Sustainable Tourism for Development. In 2015, the UN General Assembly took three very important decisions. One, in September of 2015, it approved the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, our roadmap and our agenda for 2030. Then later in the year, in December 2015, we had signed altogether, all 193 members of the UN body and the UN family, the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. Then there was this declaration of 2017 as the International Year for Sustainable Tourism to crown all of that and to establish once and for all the positioning of tourism as a very important sector within the development agenda, something that was a challenge 8 years ago. I was asked by many people as I'm coming to the end of my term, what has changed in the last 8 years that I was serving there? And my always answer, my standard answer is the way we look at travel and tourism. It is incredible the amount of progress that has been made in the last 8 years in how people see travel and tourism and how they view it. There was a time where tourism was seen as a big party, no more and no less. Not that we have anything against parties or enjoying life, but the fact is that today tourism is seen in a much more respected perspective, and that tourism today is without doubt one of the most impactful, transformative forces that can change people's life to the better in every aspect. The Arabian travel market has grown hugely over the years, reflecting this extraordinary growth and prestige of tourism in the Middle East and all around the world. As you can see, today we don't only have ministers from the Middle East and responsible people from the Middle East private sector, but we have the international community joining us here in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. We have been holding this forum for a time now. I always say when an idea is a good idea, it succeeds at the first time. If you repeat it the second and the third time, it becomes a very good idea. But if it is 7 or 8 times repeated, it becomes a tradition. This is going to be a tradition. This is going to be a success story, and it will be remembered for a long, long time. So I want to thank ATM for this long-standing partnership, and I want to thank you, Simon, in particular. I know how much time and effort you've put into this partnership. My dear friends, we're here in Dubai, and we're looking forward to the World Expo in 2020 here in Dubai. Why am I mentioning this? Because this event will cement the nation's status as one of the centers of modern-day Middle East prestige and glory. Dubai has been a success story without doubt, and around it, the United Arab Emirates has also been a greater container to this success story. We are living in a very magical moment when it comes to the UAE and Dubai in particular. And the 2020 will cement this and crown it with the best possible celebration that it deserves. It will also surely set Dubai on the way to reach its goal for 20 million visitors by 2020. It's what Dubai has been aiming for. Dubai has this incredible buzz to it. I know this very well. I have a son and a daughter living here. They would not leave for anything in the world for that. I know how much they love it. I know how much all the young people, all the talents of the world are gathered around this place, giving their best and taking from it the best as well. There's a magic about this place, and we ought to go touch it and enjoy it. When we visit Dubai, we see the cultures that can come together in a spirit of tolerance, mutual understanding. It's a commodity that we're very much in need of. Because, my dear friends, as I always like to remind everybody, the world may be suffering from so many deficits in the world today. Educational deficits, financial deficits, technological deficits, but the most important deficit of them all is the deficit of tolerance and understanding. And there is nothing more powerful than travel and tourism to remedy this deficit and to do something about it. And Dubai is a good and great example of how this is actually done here on the ground. When we visit Dubai, we see the will of men and the power of that will exhibiting itself in the real place. Because, my friends, it's never what you have. It's what you do with what you have that matters at the end of the day. I'm also delighted that we have here rising stars from many other United Arab Emirates that are joining in this very important march towards the future. I'm delighted to welcome all your Emirates here. Mr. Mohammed Muhairi, you're really leading a very good group of people, very talented group of people. I've come to know you, to see you, and to work with you on a daily basis, and I have great, great respect to all what you do here. My dear friends, 2016 was a great year for international tourism. Tourism grew by 3.9%, almost 4%. It reached 1,235 million international tourists crossing borders in one single year. That, my friends, is almost 1 out of 6 of the people of the world making an international trip outside of their country every year. This is an incredible movement. And it's happening despite and against so much challenges and so many difficult backgrounds. Global challenges, sluggish economical growth, pandemics, health pandemics, natural disasters, climate change, wars, terrorism, migrant crisis, every other challenge that you can think of, we're living in today. Yet tourism continues to grow. There's a magic to it, and there's a reason to it. Tourism is no more a trivial or a secondary activity. Tourism today is a human right. My right to travel, my right to enjoy life, my right to do business, my right to get medical care. Every other activity under the sun can be satisfied by you traveling. In spite of all of this, tourism continues to grow, and it shows that tourism has proven yet once again to be an economic sector of utmost resilience. We can see that from the examples of many countries that you're representing here around this wonderful circle, inner and outer circle. Tourism has proven to be one of the strongest and the most resilient sectors the economy can produce. In Spain, where I live, 3 weeks ago, I had the opportunity of meeting the Prime Minister of Spain. While shaking my hands while we were entering into an event together, he said, it was tourism that saved our economy. Recovery in Europe, sluggish economic situations can be remedied by imaginative, creative sectors like travel and tourism and other sectors. Europe, Southern Europe, Eastern Europe, Egypt, Tunis, many, many other countries that are represented around this circle here know and understand the value of tourism and have appointed and entrusted the responsibility of growing this sector to some of its best men and women that are here around with us. This is true in many, many countries and many destinations in the Middle East as well. We will see that in spite of many of the challenges that the Middle East is facing, tourism will continue to grow. Because, my friends, I know that many of you are thinking in a different direction. Is this man speaking to you serious? Tourism in the Middle East? Just listen to the news. I'm very serious. I tell you, our experience has proven us right. Many, many countries around the world have been facing much more challenges than we are. We have to invest in the future. We have to believe in ourselves. While travel and tourism needs security, safety, and stability, it is a two-way street. Safety, security, and stability needs travel and tourism as well to create jobs, to increase income, and to increase the chances of us becoming better people in this world. Many of us, of you, and many of us here still very important challenges. Most of these challenges are centered around the perception of the world towards our region. But this is something that we need and we can do something about. Because despite all external shocks, the Middle East and North Africa fell one of the most important tourism success stories, if you think about them in historic perspective. A story that brings an immense opportunity to make tourism a pillar of economic diversification, job creation, sustainable development in this region. And that's precisely why we're here to discuss this together, to look at what we can do and not raise why we cannot do it. Let me, in this context, bring 3 very important challenges that we need to do in order to overcome our immediate and direct challenges in this region. 1, we need good dialogue and cooperation to enhance safe and seamless travel. It is not acceptable that we leave that to opportunities and chances. We need to be serious about safety and security, but we need to do it in such a way that it does not end up killing the very same industry that we're trying to protect. We need to do it in a seamless and in a friendly manner. We have to be able, and we can still welcome everybody in the world in spite of all the circumstances that are surrounding us. We need to utilize technology to our side and try to make it as friendly, as open, yet as safe as possible. Because, my dear friends, it is clear that safety concerns are at the heart of a hugely diverse results that we see in 2016. And we do have many diverse results here in the Middle East. It's not one formula fits all. But it's also based on a very important principle, that no country under the sun today is immune or safe 100%. Security risks are the concern of all, everybody, anywhere around the world. We are no special exception. We may be specifically more targeted in this regard, but we are no special exception. And the news and the facts and the events on the ground are proving this. Travel and tourism stakeholders must have a seat on the table when tourism and security are discussed. We have great respect for our security apparatus and our security personnel, but they cannot discuss this without us being on the table here with us. We need to make sure that our industry is safe and secure our way, and in a way that it would permit it to grow and not ending up killing it. We must be vigilant to ensure that safe travel goes hand in hand in making travel seamless and friendly. We must also increase regional cooperation in this regard. We cannot isolate each other. We cannot close our borders. We cannot build walls. We have to cooperate and not isolate. More openness does not mean less safety when it comes to travel. To the contrary, building walls increase tensions, and tensions create less safe environments. Technological advances must be used to our side and to achieve this goal. Second, we must improve crisis management to improve perception of destinations, particularly in our dealings with the communication and with the media. And I'm very happy that CNN is partnering with us. I'm depending on you, Becky, to enrich this discussion with us and add your perspective to this. Evidently, fear is stopping many people to travel, but so is inaccurate perception. No place under the sun is completely dangerous, as no place under the sun is completely safe. Therefore, we must be able to distinguish safe pockets from not so safe pockets. And we must be more precise about what does risks mean. It is important to quickly identify the nature of the threat and the crisis and get the correct message out to the media and to the world in a credible, accurate, fast initiatives. Perceptions have impaired many countries' tourism, and in the last year, even when they have been stable and safe, we have been suffering unduly and unfairly and unnecessarily because of our inability to deal correctly with the media. Countries need to cooperate to make sure that recommendations on where and when not to travel are made fairly. And I would like to remind everybody that there is a United Nations General Assembly resolution on travel advisories and safe travel. And this resolution calls for very precise requirements, and we need to encourage the international community to adhere to it. Third challenge, but not least, mainstreaming tourism in sustainable development agenda is absolutely crucial. We need to link tourism to the development agenda, and this requires a political will that believes in that. The UN General Assembly has declared 2017 as the year of international sustainable tourism for development and peace. We need to take this as an opportunity. This is a huge opportunity to determine the role of tourism and what it will play in fulfilling all our agenda for 2030. Our sector can only fulfill its responsibility to people and planet if it is an integral part of the national and regional strategies. We must work together to ensure that travel and tourism policies and strategies become part of the national strategies. This means better management of our impact, human capital policies, better infrastructure and financing, and higher priority awarded to tourism, as is the case. My dear friends, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors of the International Year of Sustainable Tourism, because without them we would not have been able to raise awareness in the manner that we're raising it now. I wish to thank them all. Let me name them if you don't mind. I'll take a minute or two. All Nippon Airways from Japan, ANA. The Balearic Islands, Shimlong from China, the Government of Colombia, Hilton, the Global Economic Tourism Forum from Macau, Minube, and the Government of Morocco. But particular thanks to those sponsors that are with us today, Amadeus and Ras Al Khaimah. Thank you very much for supporting our efforts to declare this year Sustainable Tourism for Development Year. Without their support, we could have never put together the program of activities that we have thought of. We need to work together and make the difference in this world, because, my friends, whatever our business in life is, whatever we do in life, each and every one of you in this room here, whatever you do in life, let's all remember that our core business in life must and will always be to make this world a better place. I thank you all very much, and I'd like to ask you to please bear with me to see a 1-minute video that we have prepared on the year of Sustainable Tourism for Development that has been prepared in-house in UNWTO, and it's entitled Travel, Enjoy, Respect. Without us respecting each other, respecting the culture that we visit, there is no meaning for all what we do. I thank you all very much, and I invite you to see this video. Thank you very much. Shukran.
Wonderful. And Taleb, thank you very much indeed for what is for such inspiring words, many of which I was going to use, so I won't. I'll just move on. Taleb's given you the lowdown, the numbers, the opportunities, the risks, the challenges for what is this incredibly exciting region, and that is what we will, much of that is what we will discuss later on through this next hour or so. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure now to introduce our VIP panelists from the public and the private sector today for today's ATM Ministerial Summit. Before I do that, please do share your thoughts, all of you in this room, on social media by using the hashtag IY2017, that's IY2017, or hashtag Travel Enjoy Respect, which is an appropriate moment to give you that hashtag, given what we've just seen from the UNWTO's film. Right, let's talk about the MENA region and those I've got with us on this panel today. Joining us from the public sector, we welcome Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, who is the Executive Director of the Bahrain Authority for Tourism and Exhibitions from Bahrain. His Excellency, Mr. Mohammed Yahya Rashid, who is the Minister of Tourism from Egypt. Thank you, sir, for joining us. His Excellency, Mr. Arabian, who is the Managing Director of Jordan's Tourism Board. Thank you, sir. His Excellency, Mr. Avadis Grenadian, who is the Minister of Tourism for Lebanon. Thank you, sir. Her Excellency, Mrs. Maisasaif Majid Al Marouki, who is the Undersecretary for the Ministry of Tourism in Oman. Her Excellency, Salma Aloumi Rekik, who is the Minister of Tourism and Handicrafts of Tunisia, who will, I'm sure, join us once again in the room shortly. His Excellency, Mr. Khalid Yazim Al Midfa, who is the Chairman of the Sharjah Commerce and Tourism Development Authority, part of the UAE, of course. And finally, His Excellency, Mr. Haytham Mata, who is the CEO and Head of Tourism at the Ras Al Khaimah Tourism Development Authority, also here in the UAE. Thank you. From the private sector today, Mr. Adil Al-Redha, who is the Executive Vice President and Chief Operations Officer at Emirates. Thank you, sir. Mr. Vijay Punusame, who is the Vice President of Etihad Airways. Antonio Pena, who is the Director of JSF TNT School. Mr. Abdullah bin Nasser Al-Dawood, CEO of the Al-Tayar Group. Ivan Yakovlevich, who is the Travel Industry Director of the MENA region at Google. Thank you all. Mr. Yusuf Waba, Partner and Leader at Ernst & Young on the Hospitality and Real Estate industry. Antonio Lopez de Avia, who is the Director of Tourism Innovation at the Centre at IE. Carl Obst, who is the Director at the Institute for the Development of Environmental Economic Accounting, or IDEA. And finally, Mr. Antoine Medawar, who is the Vice President for MENA for Amadeus. Getting through all of that. We are also joined, and delighted to be so, by ministers from countries such as Sudan, Costa Rica, the Republic of Korea, Jamaica and Turkey, all of whom you are welcome to add your thoughts into what should be a lively discussion this afternoon. So thank you. Now I've got through all of that, it is revealed that there are 18 of you plus Talib here, which over an hour and a quarter gives you approximately 3.5 minutes each. We need to crack on. Do not hang around. Do not present. Do not use this as too much of a platform, please, individually. This is about how, as a collective, both the private and public sector can promote growth across this fantastic region going forward. So without further ado, let me put to you all the first question that I have. And I'm thinking sort of, one thought, 140 characters, sort of like Twitter, and give you an opportunity to just get your sort of priority out. So to you at Emirates, let me start with you, Sir Adel, and to all of you, just have to think about what it is that you would answer this question with in 30 seconds. How or what is it that you define as your number one priority for growth for the tourism industry in the MENA region in the coming decades? Sir, the floor is yours. 30 seconds.
MENA, the airlines, the government, the private sectors. When I talk about the private sector in here, I refer to hotels, I refer to theme parks, and the government. We should be working, packaging, and promoting tourism to the outside world in a collective manner. And if we have to set a target, when we look at Dubai, we have got about 15 million plus visitors this year. Bangkok is about close to 20 million. And the foundations and the attractions within Dubai by far exceed the Thailand attractions. So I don't see any reason why we don't work together and achieve something close to 20 million, 18 million visitors by the year 2018.
20 million by 2020 has been the target, hasn't it?
Bring it forward by 2 years.
Good stuff. Well, you are ambitious, but then you always are ambitious in the UAE. I'm going to talk to you and to Etihad and to the private sector as well, and the government ministers here about some of the issues that have recently been revealed by the new administration in the US, not least the executive order on travel and the electronics banks. I think that is important to bring up as one of the issues that I know will be important to particularly this region. Sir, Egypt, priority for growth in the next decade, 30 seconds.
I think the most important element for growth is to be ready with manpower. In general, we work quite a lot with delivering the services, and quite often we don't pay enough attention to the human capital. I think it is one issue that we really need to focus on and continue to work. I think we're all, collectively are faced with the threat of security, whether it is Paris, London, Cairo, wherever, And therefore, if we are not prepared today with the human capital that is necessary to face all these elements, I think we're nowhere to achieve our goals. I think it is important to concentrate on developing the human capital everywhere, because there will be areas in the world where there is less of, and there is areas where there is more of. So the general concern about human capital will remain to be whether we do enough to get these people technologically savvy and technically ready for tomorrow.
Fantastic, because it is important that we talk about what needs to be done, not what you think your individual priorities would be as both domestically and as a collective, but what needs to be done in order to promote that sort of human capacity. So perhaps that's something we can discuss. I can go around this room, or I can just ask for people to interject at this point. Yes, sir.
If I can interject, I think it's a well-balanced, socioeconomic driven winter and summer tourism strategy that is focused on the natural key and strong diverse assets of a destination is what will certainly create a sustainable tourism for the next decades.
Wonderful. And you're Ras Al Khaimah, of course. So what is it that you are doing specifically in 30 seconds?
That is focusing really, I think if I just go back in 30 seconds, when the UNWTO declared or dedicated 2017 to be the Sustainable Tourism for Development year, we knew we had to be part of it because we launched our 2019 destination strategy in January 2016, and sustainable tourism is actually one of our key pillars. Really focusing on adventure-based or nature-based tourism, as Ras Al Khaimah is one of the 7 emirates that enjoys an abundance of natural assets. We have the highest mountains in the UAE, Jebel Jais, beautiful, stunning desert and pristine beaches, wildlife, marine life, but sustainable tourism is not just about green tourism. It's also about preserving history, preserving culture and heritage. And that's where, a destination like ours, as probably many around the room here, has really an abundance of culture, authenticity, and heritage.
Ernst & Young, perhaps should have started with you on this because you're clearly probably making loads of money out of consulting with many of these ministers. So what is the priority for growth in this sector, in this wonderful region for the next decade?
Well, I think it varies from a country to a country. So I think if you look at places like Dubai or the UAE, I would say medical tourism is one of the key, I would say, opportunities that are available there and we can capture. And if we capture correctly, I think it does provide huge area for growth. If you look at places like Saudi Arabia, I would say it's entertainment. There is a huge, I would say, opportunity in entertainment and leisure. And I think there is also demand for such entertainment and leisure products in a market like Saudi Arabia. In places like Egypt, I would say safety is an issue, obviously, but there is a lot to offer in a place like Egypt in tourism and hospitality.
Thank you, sir. Amadeus, what are your thoughts? I mean, obviously your name isn't Amadeus, but you're from Amadeus, so apologies for that, because I've got 18 of you. Please don't make me say your name properly. Go on.
My name is Antoine.
I know it is.
Okay, so when I hear all what we are saying here, no matter what is the target of the growth, it needs some technology to be able to do it seriously. And we need always to bring people from a point A to a point B. This is airlines. We need to accommodate them when they arrive, and we need to feed them. However, having said that, this is the most simple thing to do. When the technology will be available, we need to upskill and to educate the people to use it. And this is something that we feel that it must have the support of the political people in order to create the environment for the technology companies to educate and to have the right policy in place in order to upskill and to be ready in the next 10 years. Just 2 remarks. In 2030, this region will have 192 million visitors. 30% out of the population of the GCC is under 15 years, and they are completely focused on internet, on technology, and you don't see one single person that don't have a mobile, iPhone or Samsung or whatever. So this is major. Thank you.
I think you make a really, really important point. And here's something that we might do at this next year or the year after, is have a 15-year-old at this, on this panel, because they can offer a lot, as you just suggested. They are the visitor, the tourist of the future. I think that's an excellent idea. Right, go on, Antoine.
I wanted to say that we learn a lot from these people of 15 years. They are better than us. Remember, 10 years ago, you have a ticket, a paper ticket, and today you have an e-ticket. You don't have anything to travel.
Perfect. Right. Go on, please. Yes.
I will be talking in Arabic, so
That's okay.
can you use the translation?
I can understand.
Okay.
Just.
الأولويات بالنسبة لدولة الإمارات، نحن طبعا نختلف نوعا ما. أغلب النقاط التي قيلت هي قد تكون أولويات أيضا لنا نحن في دولة الإمارات. نحن قد نكون متطورين كثيرا عن الناحية المحلية بمستوى كل إمارة، لكن عندما نأتي إلى الجانب الاتحادي والفدرال فما زال الطريق أمامنا طويل، لأن طبعا السياحة بدأت على المستوى المحلي من فترة طويلة، ويمكن تعدت 20 سنة وأكثر، لكن على المستوى الاتحادي بدأت متأخرة شوية. فلما بدأت متأخرة صار في عديد من الأمور نحن ما زلنا في حاجة لها. فمن أولوياتنا أن تكون هناك مثل ما ذكر الأخ هيثم استراتيجية موحدة على مستوى الدولة تقود صناعة السياحة. كذلك من أولوياتنا أن تكون هناك توحيدات أو التشريعات والأنظمة تكون توحدت على مستوى الفيدرالي أيضا وليس فقط المحلي. إذا تكلمنا عن تراخيص المنشآت الفندقية، إذا تكلمنا عن تراخيص المكاتب السفر، عن التصنيفات، هذه كلها أمور نعتقد إذا ما تم تطويرها ووضعها في قالب اتحادي واحد ستعود بالنفع على الوجهة على الإمارات بشكل عام، وستعود بالنفع على المحلي. وهذا الذي يعني نحن في وزارة الاقتصاد اللي عملنا عليه خلال ال7 سنوات الماضية، على أننا يعني نحاول أن نغير الفهم الجاري السابق على أني أنا إمارة مستقلة أسوق لنفسي. صار الآن القالب التسويق على مستوى الإمارات، يعني فيزيت UAE. فهذا اللي أدى إلى طبعا، وأعتقد هذه الأولويات هي اللي بتساعد في أننا نصل إلى أرقام قد تكون أيضا مضاعفة وأكبر من هذه الأرقام.
Very good. Thank you very much indeed. So, and while we're with the UAE, let me just take this off for the time being. While we're with the UAE, I wonder if we can just talk about some of the learning on job creation, human capital and innovation, which I know is a huge part of the visions going forward here across the industrial boards. You've talked about the sort of wider UAE vision. We've heard, Haitham, from you on where you think the priorities are for growth, specifically speaking to Ras Al Khaimah. I know we've got a minister from Sharjah here as well. I know you'll concur with what else is said from the Emirates, but if you can just talk about what perhaps other countries or the industry as a collective might learn from the UAE's experience in investment in both innovation and human capacity.
Thank you. I think it's very important to look at where our leadership wants the United Arab Emirates to be. And relatively, our country is like 46 years old in terms of development. Of course, we existed thousands of years before that, but as one country, it's been almost 46 years. Now, the important part is to look at the priorities and the strategies and the future vision of the country and how well diversified does the country want to be and not rely on one source of income or a major source like an oil-producing country like the United Arab Emirates having its income only coming from oil. It doesn't make sense for our leadership. So it is very important to see, first of all, what the leadership wants and what the leadership conveys, the message that they convey across the whole system on a federal level and on a local government level. And then we look at the contribution of the different sectors, one of them being a very, very important and active sector, which is the tourism, and which represents almost, in Sharjah, I can talk about almost 9% to the GDP, which is quite high for an oil-producing emirate. And this is where it starts, and this is how it goes, and the diversity is really what matters. Then this pushes the whole system, because as always, Dr. Talib al-Rafa'i gives us all of these inspirational topics every year. We look at the inspiring topics that are of really key importance around globally, and we take that and we learn from that, and then we adapt to what the world is looking for. So community development, sustainability, environment, job creation. 1 out of every 11 jobs created are in tourism. So it is a very, very active and dynamic industry. So what we need to do is always look at what is the future, technological progress. We should use technology in our favor, because technology today will help us a lot in achieving our goals and understanding the trends and movements very quickly. We can understand that very quickly and receive that and analyze and create action plans based on that.
Wonderful, thank you. And while we're in the UAE, Vijay, I wonder if you and Adel might possibly just give us a kind of wider sense of how damaging perhaps the executive order and the electronics ban out of the States have been to what is incredibly important, an incredibly important sector in the airline industry for the UAE and beyond, and how you hope or are proposing that that might change going forward?
Thank you. Unfortunately, I don't have my laptop with me here. But if I could actually follow up on a key point which Excellency just made. I'm from Mauritius, as you know, and I've been living in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi for the last 11 years with Etihad. And one thing which has always inspired me and impressed me is the pro-travel and tourism mindset, which the leadership of this country has always demonstrated. And from that follows a number of things. As you know, the World Travel and Tourism Council issued last month its latest statistics for last year, which showed that this industry, travel and tourism sector, generated 292 million jobs worldwide and contributed $7.6 trillion to the global GDP. In MENA, it was 10.6 million jobs and $284.8 billion, let alone what our good friend Dr. Talib Rifai mentioned earlier, the contribution of this sector to mutual understanding and mutual respect around the world. So all of us who are in this sector should really be proud of our role in this sector. And actually, if I could invite all of you to give yourself a good round of applause, because this sector is going to take the world out of the shadows. Please, because you deserve this. This is a sector which perhaps has been too little has been said about how significant its contribution is. Jobs, mutual understanding, economic diversity, and diversification. Very, very important. And we hope, we pray, that this mindset actually permeates around the world, including in some of the countries you have in mind in putting your question earlier.
Right, so given that you've acknowledged my question, what's the answer?
No, I think we have to recognize one thing. In the travel and tourism sector, all of us put priority on safety and security. We will never do anything which would jeopardize safety and security. We will also never second guess a country's decision on promoting safety and security. All we ask, and I think as Talib rightly referred to, is there's dialogue on doing this, because we have a vested interest in safety and security. We are the partners for safety and security. Nobody else would actually wish to have any harm come to our sector. So engage with us, and perhaps having found the source of a problem, working with us might deliver the best result for dealing with the problem which has been identified.
Thank you, thank you. Anything to add from Emirates' point of view?
I share the same thing. I think, no one single company or entity or government entity will compromise on the safety and security of travel. I think, we put this one in the heart of our business. But I think, there is a way how to go around this. If we are going to be suspicious about anything that comes in life to us, are we going to stop people carrying it? I mean, a few years back, there was suspicion about carrying things in the shoes. Did we stop people carrying their shoes on board the aircraft? We didn't. So I think, the way around it, and I think we don't want to be in a position to influence or tell any government what to do, but I think they should consult with the airlines, because we are the source of income to these countries. We are the source of bringing travelers from various range, whether it is businessmen, traders, tourism, family. So we would be impacted today. Emirates obviously got impacted quite, largely with this ban, whether the ban or with another government regulation with regard to visa. We have lost about close to 35% of our seat factors on United States operations.
It's had a huge impact, correct?
It does,
Yeah.
and then lately we have just announced the drop or the reduction of our frequency to major cities, which we have seen over the years or the months that they had very strong seat factor and growth. So I think tourism's businesses will be impacted by these kind of decisions, and there should be a need for a dialogue to go to the root cause of such problems and kill it there.
So, a decent dialogue, investment in human capacity and innovation, clear need to concentrate on security and safety. Talib.
Yes, thank you. On security and safety, really. Travel bans and building walls as I indicated in my opening remarks, will only increase tensions. And increasing tensions is counter-safety productive. Actually, we ought to think a little bit and stop and think a little bit, what are we really doing when we ban travel and when we build walls and when we restrict movements? We're actually serving the agenda of those terrorists. That's exactly what they want us to do. They want us to stop traveling. They want us to mistrust each other. They want us to hate each other. They want us not to interact with each other. So whether we know it or not, by attitudes like this, we're actually serving their agenda. And I wonder, how can we do that and at the same time claim that we are protecting jobs or protecting safety? You know, our friends across the Atlantic have lost, in the last 3 weeks only, $185 million in terms of drop in travel. It is expected, we have research to prove that there will be $16 billion lost in the coming 2 years if this attitude continues to be that way. Because the issue is not the bans that are imposed on certain specific countries. The issue is what kind of message is this being transmitted. The message is very simple, you're not welcomed. And if you come, we're going to give you trouble before you come in. So people are not going to actually live, the world is open for so many other options. So I'm cautioning, and we need to be very careful, we need to be very brave and very clear about our stand. We have to stand for freedom of movement, we have to stand for people moving, people traveling, and the interaction between cultures and societies. Otherwise, we'll end up being on the wrong side of history.
Meantime, those who aren't going to go from here to the States perhaps anytime soon might want to travel intra-regionally. And we had this discussion a couple of years ago, and we talked here in this room with many of you present about the opportunities and challenges that the intra-regional travel and tourism market has here. From Bahrain, what is your perspective? We can talk intra-regional travel. You can also offer up what you think is your main priority as a driver of growth for the industry as a whole going forward.
I think there's several fundamental factors that you should look at when looking into transportation within the region. When it comes to Bahrain, of course, 83% of our traffic comes through the causeway, linking us to Saudi Arabia. Now, the causeway was built in 1986, and the amount of traffic increased tremendously. It wasn't built for this potential amount of traffic. So we worked together with MOI, the Ministerial of Bahrain, and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and we just recently launched the one-way entry. And it's the first of its kind, whereby if you pass Bahrain going to Saudi, you just go through one checkpoint instead of two in the past. This is one way of looking into things. Other ways that we should look into in a regional factor is looking into to liberalize all the visas obstacles in the sense of as a country in the Gulf, all the regional countries, our neighbors, should have the access to enter our countries if they leave in the. So we're working together with our neighboring countries to have one visa that can allow other countries to come in. If you have a visa to Dubai, you can come to Bahrain, vice versa. I know that Oman and Qatar started that. We're looking into that as well.
And we had that discussion 2 years ago, so are we getting any closer? The minister from Oman can actually address that perhaps.
Yeah,
but thank you, sir.
It's been a successful story, actually, for Oman and Qatar.
Yeah.
And we've seen even the numbers are growing, and at the moment, we are all challenged in terms of the travel. And in terms of opening the GCC countries together or the region, it became one of the main pillars for even the strategies of most of the governments here. And one of the areas we looked into Oman while we are developing their tourism strategy 2040 is building their regional markets. It's due to its importance, and as well we have the products which can offer. And also looking at what is happening now. For example, the last 2 years, we've seen some of the Europe markets have dropped the travel, maybe the main source markets. So many of us have started to look into how important is the regional as well to grow. For Oman, for example, Kharif Salalah has been always a wow factor, where we had always 85% of the travelers are from the region. But we expanded that from being only in Kharif towards the winter season. So by developing a lot of packages in terms of working with the airlines, and this is one of the areas I think the method of travel is very important. We've developed only maybe the commercial airlines, but now we have the LLC airlines, which is low-cost carriers, and we have a number of them. In Oman, we announced end of last year, the LLC as well, low-budgeted airline, where it really works in the intra-Gulf and now starting for some region, that it stimulated the travel between. And I do agree with Sheikh, having these facilities of tour, not only the visas, but I think facilitating the visas, like e-visa gates. So the ease of using these visas and processes. This is very crucial now, using the technology and promoting as well. We can do these facilities, but without promoting them,
very good
I don't
point.
think we're adding to that.
You're a very good point.
Objective is.
I think you want to follow up, yes?
Yeah, I just want to put a point into innovation. When we talk about innovation, there are several ways of looking into it. I'll just use two examples that we've done in Bahrain. The first example is also in the causeway. We're trying to minimize the level of human interaction, whereby the cars pass by without actually registration. So we're looking at developing new applications whereby you can pre-register and pass by, or you can actually pay all the fees prior to entering. That's one way of looking at it. And also we just finished a huge project in terms of innovation, is that we created a software. It took us 2 years to create it. This software takes all the information from all tourism establishments, especially hotels, telling us the number of hotel guests, occupancy rates, nationality, all real time. Now, this is already, all hotels are in. Usually with the Formula One race, it took us 3 days to know the actual figure. This year, it took us 3 seconds.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so,
well, therein lies
so innovation is very important, especially for statistics factors.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Anybody else from the private? Yeah, no, I was going to come to you. The idea of I mean, please share with us your what needs to be done, not just what you're kind of, if I had a magic wand, I wish this were to happen in the next 10 years, but what really needs to be done. And specifically, so far as Jordan is concerned, how important is intra-regional travel at a time when clearly, sitting in this region and the perceptions of this region affecting European and other travelers?
Yeah. Thank you. I just want to share with my colleagues here, our friends here, our experience as Jordan as a destination where we suffered from the perception about the country being in the middle of these geopolitical problems. The thing that's very important we did, and we succeeded to increase the numbers now by the last year, and now the first quarter we are doing well, to bring the influencers and how to convey the right message about the country, facilitate the access to the country. It's very important to have this affordable packages and to bring low-cost carrier charters and do this partnership with the airlines like Emirates, Etihad. Now we are doing this partnership with them to bring more tourists to the country, because once you facilitate and you introduce your country in a different way and you design a special and unique and authentic package that cater for the needs for special niches, definitely you will succeed and bring more tourists to the country. The most important element, talking about the sustainable and the economic point of view, how to engage the local community and to the supply chain, your country can get benefit from the tourism. And one of these examples, the Jordan Trail. Recently, we launched the Jordan Trail. It's 650 kilometers passing through 52 villages, where the local community get benefit from the tourism, where the product is there. Then definitely you will solve the problem of the job creation. And by default, when you bring these all elements together, definitely will reflect positively in the destination and affect positively on the economy.
Yeah, fascinating. Where else we? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to add, domestic tourism, for example, in Ras Al Khaimah represents 47% of the total tourism. Now, if I bring in, for example, the GCC, now we're talking about 57 to 60%. If I bring in the region, Middle East, now we're talking about 75%.
Wow.
Of our visitors come from within this region. Now, if we talk about the domestic, for example, they're easier to connect with, they're quicker to respond, but it comes with advantages and disadvantages. I think the disadvantage of having an abundance amount of domestic travel is the fact that they come on weekends, public holidays, and they book on a Thursday for a Friday. Now, in destinations like ours, where we start to focus on growing international travel, those are people who book 6 months in advance, and they pay 6 months in advance. And they come to stay anywhere between 5 to 7 nights, overlapping the weekends and public holidays. Now you start to have a supply-demand issue where the local or domestic market is not able to find rooms or accommodation.
So what's the solution there? Because that is that you've identified a clear opportunity and a clear challenge. What's the solution?
Well, the no-brainer sort of off-the-cuff answer would be, let's build more hotels, right? But then we go back up to talk, to think about sustainability and sustainable tourism. Is that the right answer? Is really building more hotels is the right answer? Or how do we accommodate you? Because you can't necessarily educate the local market between now and the next 10 years to make sure that they book, 1 week in advance, because to them it's accessible. It's a drive away. Ras Al Khaimah is an hour from here, so people from Dubai and the rest of the Emirates drive to other Emirates, and people go to Abu Dhabi and vice versa. So I think the real recipe here for us to ensure that we continue to cater for the domestic travel and the international travel is find ways to incentivize the domestic travel to book in advance, whether it's early booking advantages or discounts, or also find ways to build hotels that's going to also continue to sustain the growth of tourism. So a supply-demand strategy, right? Whether it's the international or domestic travel or the regional travel, that continues to engage the repeat travel, because this is where the key thing is. To have repeat travel is certainly one of the most important revenue generators for any destination. And currently in my destination, we're not able to measure repeat business, but we're on the way of putting together some infrastructure that's going to help us. But that's going to be key.
No, fascinating, yes.
Yeah, actually it's a very nice segue. The area of measurement is the area that I specialise in. And it's been fascinating over the last hour or so to hear the amount of use of statistics on tourism growth and visitor movements and all those types of things. But if you went back 15 or 20 years, those standards for measurement were not something that existed. It was a real leadership role by the UNWTO to develop those standards. But the opportunity that it seems to be here and in front of this region, but around the world as well, particularly in the context of the 2017 International Year for Sustainable Tourism for Development, is this opportunity to have a more standardised and wide-ranging discussion around measurement and what sustainability means. I think one of the concerns at the moment is that anyone can define sustainability the way they feel like it, which then leaves you in a very difficult space. So this, to have an open conversation about what you mean, because really you can justify what you like. The SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, point us towards ensuring that we have measurement across these 3 dimensions of economic and social and environmental. We're working at the moment with UNWTO leading an important project on measuring sustainable tourism, trying to make sure that we've got a dialogue with both private and public sector across many disciplines. It's not just a tourism thing, it's environmental, economic, working together. And I think there's a real opportunity to try and get that common language and dialogue around what sustainability means, and then translating that into actual numbers which allow you to have that dialogue.
Amazing. Yes, sir.
Yeah, in fact, when we talk about travel and tourism, we're talking about business, economics, but we also talk about sustainability, environment, cultural, and we are talking about people. Now we are entering in a very new area, the digital area. We are all transforming into the digital business, digital society, and digital traveler. Now we can measure everything through technology, and we can adopt better decisions, better policies based on data, big data and analytics. The Internet of Things are helping us to measure everything. So I think it's a very brand new scenario. We have to deal with it. We have to form our human capital. We have to work with people so we can face this new area that I think we are going to see wonderful things in the future, in the short future, but we have to invest in this future. We have to build the future.
And you're the Director of Tourism of the Tourism Innovation Centre in Spain. So fascinating that you've shared your thoughts and that you have said we have to do X, Y, and Z. Just so that everybody's clear, Spain isn't in MENA. So I'm just you're an observer, sir, here today. And it would be fascinating to just get your sense in sort of 30 seconds a minute as to how you see MENA positioned in travel and tourism from the outside looking in, as it were, and where you see the challenges and opportunities going forward. If you wouldn't mind just sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, last year we had 1,016,000 people, 100,016,000 people in Spain impacted in the country. And that's why we started to think 5 years ago about smart destinations and about smart companies. It was the only way to go ahead and to figure out how the new scenario can be managed. So if we are facing that in 2030, we're going to face 1.8 billion travelers all around the world with the new devices, traveling with more information, looking for authenticity, looking for connectivity, looking for sustainability. We started to invest in that 5 years ago in Spain, and now we are approaching to this new scenario in a better way. Our destinations and our companies are investing in this new feature, new scenario, and we are learning about it.
Thank you. The world of academia, am I giving you the floor, sir?
Okay. Well, I will also insist in learning, but maybe with a different approach. Well, our business school is a young initiative. It's been supported by the Travel and Tourism leader worldwide, so it's a private initiative. And this makes a difference. And what is our objective? At the end is to attract talent to our industry and to nurture it, to make it develop. And why for? What for? Because we need leaders. We need people, we invest in people that can develop a strategic vision, have a clear innovation mindset, and can manage all the process to reach the objectives. This is our main objectives. And it is clear also an objective of the region. I have seen the big changes regarding innovation, regarding everything during the last years. Our approach is, okay, how should we do this? First of all, we should share information. We should share bad experiences,
as well as good.
So in this case, for example, our programs are focusing now in the top managers, so that they can share all what they have done during last years, what are their challenges they have met in New York, Mallorca, Hong Kong. We are planning now programs also for the region, because what is important is that people share these initiatives, share these experiences, understand what are the challenges that they have.
Sure.
There are different views, different experiences in each part of the world. It's also a transversal initiative, so it's not the same the concerns that the airlines have, or the destinations have, or the hotels have.
Yeah.
So we try to have a global vision regarding the world, a transversal vision regarding the sector, and so that we can attract people, first of all. We can attract, say, the best brains to our sector.
Absolutely acknowledge that there is an absolute need for excellent human capacity and the investment in that.
And also that all the leaders understand that they need to learn and to learn how to approach and to manage the challenges.
Thank you. Minister from Tunisia, we were going around the room. There are only 3 ladies in the house. You should have been asked to provide your thoughts a lot earlier. Forgive me for that. Your sense of the biggest opportunities biggest challenges that you see in driving growth in this industry over the next 10 years? And if you can be quite specific to your experience.
Okay. Just to give you information about Tunisia, it was a decision in the beginning of the 70s to invest in tourism industry. And now the tourism industry is very important in our economy. You know that in 2015 we faced a lot of terrorism attack, like in the region and like even in other countries in Europe. We decided before this problem to change all our strategy in tourism industry. First of all, and it's our politic now, it's our strategy. First one, we decided to implement the open sky in order to facilitate the access to our country. Second one, we start the e-visa project in order to facilitate the visa for Tunisia. But the most important thing is to change all the facilities we are giving to this industry. We have a formal agency to promote tourism in Tunisia, and we cut this agency in three operations. One, which is responsible of training, and with a very high level objective. Our objective is the excellence, and we link all our center of training to European center very known, and we work with the professional. It's very important to work with the private sector. Means it's important to have a link with the private sector. The second agency is responsible of promotion and to create a new image of our country, and we work a lot in digital. We use the digital in this activity. The third one is investment, and the strategy in this investment is we go to investing in sustainable tourism with ecological objective. It's very important, and even with you know that Tunisia is in the center of Mediterranean Sea, and our main product was beach, 1,300 kilometers beach in Mediterranean Sea, and it's working 4 months per year. And we diversify. Our strategy is to diversify our activity. We have medical tourism. We have Saharan tourism. We have even we diversify our markets. Now we work on Arab countries.
What are the numbers for intra-regional incoming regional traffic to Tunisia out of interest?
Our traditional market in the beginning was Europe.
Yes, of course.
And our first business was with France. After Germany, Belgium, Great Britain, and now it's changing. In 2016, we received more than 600,000 Russian people. We are receiving people from Algeria, from Libya, for medical tourism mainly, but for investment, for shopping, for not only for beach activity. And now we are working on Chinese market, and we are changing our mode. We are trying to heard about what this market are asking for Tunisia. Tunisia is not only beach. We have more than 40,000 sites, historical sites. You know, our history is, we have more than 3,000 years history. We have the Roman period, the Phoenician period, the Arab period, and we are an Arabic country and Muslim country, but we are very open and
thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So some familiar projects and ideas from Tunisia as well. Minister of Sharjah, please, absolutely. Who hasn't spoken?
Thank you.
Yes, sir, I'll come back to you. I've got my eye on you, sir. Yes.
Becky, remember when people used to say, think outside the box? Now the world is moving so quickly and changing. Now they say there is no box to start with. So there is no box, just think whatever you want. So based on that, the United Arab Emirates as well adapted this new methodology, basically, innovation. It used to be called quality assurance, then excellence, now it's innovation. It's taking it to another level, thinking about the future of products and services. Now, for us in Sharjah, we have been part of this innovations theme and the innovations methodology throughout the past at least 2 or 3 years. And next year, we're going to be part of the Innovations Month of the United Arab Emirates. There are so many talents, there are so many needs around the world that require innovation in your services and in your products. Now, for us, for example, the world is changing. There is a need for mass customization. You need to customize a product or a service for every different individual. And you cannot achieve that without the innovation. You cannot achieve that without having proper data to rely on reliable information. Like the TSA, the Tourism Satellite Account, which is one of the most credible and the approved by the UN reports that we get. Also on a domestic and local level, we have our own statistics. It's very, very important to get reliable information.
I don't doubt there will be a sector called innovation tourism started by Dubai or the UAE at some point, and then they will lead the way in that interesting sector. Let me come to you, sir, because you've kept yourself very quiet today.
Thank you for bringing up the information, because I think that's kind of the business that we are in at Google.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest opportunities, one of the biggest challenges that we're working on, I think we'll be working on in the next 10 years, is to actually bring everyone online. We have around 160 million people in MENA who are currently connecting. We're actually lagging the world statistics in terms of the connectivity, which is a big enabler of all of the things that we're talking about. It's the enabler of the big data, it's the enabler of the information sharing, it's the enabler of search, it's the enabler of discoverability, it's the enabler of usability of a lot of things that we're talking about.
So what do you say to each and every one of these ministers, from the public sector, from those who are playing a different role in the private sector, to you at Google? What is your one piece of advice, as it were, and where do you see that one priority with a magic wand that you would wave for growth going forward?
Yeah. So for us, the big thing, or the big topic that we discuss with everyone, is that pretty much everyone is now connected in all the source markets that we're kind of interested in. And that enables a number of things. That enables us to actually connect to people on a one-to-one basis with a very tailored, very, very efficient message about marketing our own destination, marketing our product if we're an airline or a hotel, and kind of targeting them in a very effective way. The truth of the matter is that we're now all connected, and we're all dreaming about travel. We go to internet to watch the video to get inspired. We go to internet to conduct a transaction, to book a hotel room, or to book a flight. That is the opportunity that actually enables everyone with a product that caters to this audience to basically do it in a one-on-one, very targeted and efficient fashion.
Fantastic. Yes, sir.
Just to expand on what Her Excellency just mentioned, is the importance of engaging the private sector. So you could have wonderful tourism plans and really ambitious projects, but you do need the private. As a government, you cannot do it on your own, and you need to have a compelling story for the private to come and participate. So you have to have the right concept. The concept has to make sense financially, because as a private investor, the key criteria that they would look at is the profitability and the return on their investment. So certain tourism-related projects might provide decent returns, and therefore private would jump and would participate. Certain tourism-related initiatives may not really provide sufficient returns, where the government then has to participate and provide certain subsidies.
We have about 5 minutes. Talib.
Thank you. There was a very interesting line of discussion that started with the Minister of Tourism of Egypt when he spoke about human resource and the need to train. And then it was followed up by many speakers on the issue of training and innovation. And what I'd like to add just a few thoughts there, if you don't mind.
Please do.
One is that a job in tourism is not an attractive job. It's not seen to be of good quality. Just to prove that to you, out of the graduates of any high school that goes into universities, only 0.08% of the students choose to study tourism, while we are employing 1 out of 11 people all over the world. So the rest of the people are coming from somewhere else that has not expressed an interest. It's a matter of fact. 2, the rate of filtration outside of a job in tourism is very, very high. People enter the labor market for the first time through tourism because it's easy, but then they leave it and go somewhere else because they are very much needed and wanted. When you work in tourism, you learn skills that are very much wanted in other areas. You learn how to dress well, how to speak well, you know, social skills, so you're attracted to go out. So our sector is suffering from that. But to connect this with innovation, which is very important, what Antonio was saying, you know, our sector is not known to be one of the most innovative sectors at all. I'm always reminded by a friend of mine who told me once, we were able to put a man on the moon before we put 2 wheels on a suitcase. Just to think about it. So we need to think outside of the box. We need to train our people. We need to invest in human beings. And we need to create centers of innovation where people would think outside of the box. There is still a box, but the box is getting closer and closer. I was in Portugal with this fine young lady behind me, Sandra Carbao, last month. And I went to see a group of students that are working in incubators for tourism. One student impressed me very much, and I want to share this very quickly with you. He came up with an innovation of a small little gadget that you could, when you check into a hotel, you take this gadget, you plug it in, it measures the amount of fresh water that you consume per your stay.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And when you check out, you give that gadget back, and it shows how much water you've consumed. The less water you consumed, the more your discount is. So you can imagine how...
That's very clever.
I mean, it's ideas like this that we really need to encourage if we want to go anywhere. Thank you.
Just out of interest, you raise a really, really good point on those numbers. Do you know, and you may not, and forgive me for chucking you in on this one, tourism is such a big driver for the UAE economy. Do we know? Do we have any stats as to how many people are actually studying tourism here, as opposed to entering in, you know, without a kind of it being a destination for them? Just out of interest.
Well, tourism, yes. أتكلم بالعربي sorry. I have to talk in Arabic. السياحة نعم مهمة جدا بالنسبة للإمارات. كما ذكرنا زار الإمارات في السنة الماضية تقريبا 24.8 مليون زائر. هي صحيح أن صناعة قد تكون جديدة نوعا ما إذا قارناها بدول أخرى سبقتنا في هذا المجال، لكنها بدأت تنمو بطريقة يعني تصاعدية قوية جدا وتفوق معدلات النمو المعتمدة أو المتعارف عليها دوليا، وتؤثر الآن أكثر من 12% في الناتج القومي، توفر أكثر من 617,000 وظيفة، لكن ما زالت لدينا إشكالية في الكوادر الوطنية أو إيجاد الكوادر مثل ما ذكر معالي الوزير المصري وكما ذكر معالي الأمين العام. ما زلنا نعاني بموضوع الكوادر، إيجاد الكوادر التي ممكن تنخرط في هذا المجال. طبعا هذا راجع إلى أن الطبيعة الديموغرافية لدولة الإمارات مختلفة نوعا ما بسبب أن نسبة تعداد السكان أقل من حجم السياحة القادمة للإمارات.
That's fascinating. Yes, sir, Egypt.
I just quickly want to endorse what Dr. Talib just said. I recall about 5 years ago, some of the major hotel schools have made account for people that enters and people that join the business. It was not more than 10% of the graduate school from these hotel schools that went into the business. And 90% went into other businesses other than the hotel business. And some of the research shows that the hotel and tourism industry are not the best paid jobs. In addition, that is the hardship of the job itself. You know, it's 24/7, it is pressure, it is delivery, and
on and on. It might not be very sexy at times compared to the world of technology these days.
Know, and, you know, having said this, but also we that have been in this tourism, hotel and tourism business for many years must remember that we, as professionals, okay, were lacking the advancement of technology as such. means that by the time that the business start picking up in technology and innovation, it took a long time, you know? And one must understand, this have influenced all the hospitality sectors because they lack the technology advancement, you know? How long it took before you saw the mobile, you know, application on check-in? How long it took before you have actually computerized and you know, made the surveys digital, and so on and so forth. We can count that basically that the sector itself did not invest on the R&D in general. You know, that was not an item, that wasn't the agenda for the big companies that had the budget for the R&D, while other businesses have spent enough time to develop the R&D, you know, and there is no business in our lifetime now is gonna develop and advance unless we spend enough money and time on R&D, you know? No way, you know, we talk about innovation. Well, it doesn't come by itself. You know, if you don't spend money on it, you don't get it, period, you know?
Yes, sir. And you're going to be my final thought.
Just, I agree with you 100%. The problem is that the technology exists, but the problem is to educate the people to spend money on it. Because if you look at our sector, travel and tourism, this is where we spend the less money on technology. If you look to the bank, if you look to the retails, they got it. And I'm not talking about spending money on technology just to reduce the power, the human power inside it. Nothing to do with it. It means today technology exists. You have virtual reality. You have artificial intelligence, where people either they don't want to put the appropriate money on them, or they simply are waiting to be cheaper, maybe.
You know, technology in general, okay, it's also about equipment. What kind of equipment we use inside our own kitchens, okay? How much money and time we're putting on the online training. I mean, it took a long time for hotel and tourism companies to get into the online training, you know? And this is part of what life is all about today, you know? Talk about not only this, what the service techniques are, you know, what the recipes look like, how you're actually gonna come up with the new recipes and the development of all, you know, the worldwide, you know, gastronomic world. You know, in terms, you need to spend money to make money.
Need to spend money to make money. Thank you. Yes, sir, because I am going to close this out.
To say something,
yes, go on.
I think we need to control our destiny. We are the airline, need to drive this, and we will drive it because the technology is there. We need to package it. Today, the technology is available, application available. We need to go to our customer. We need to customize our website to be able to book a flight, to book a hotel, to book a theme park, to book a restaurant, all within a minute or second of your own phone. So we will drive it, and the government sector will gonna have to join us.
That's a great closing statement from the COO at Emirates. Thank you very much indeed. And I will just wrap us up, I think, and before I hand the floor to Talib for the last time, I think, at the ATM. Is that correct? Correct. So I'll just take a stand, as it were, here. I want to bring today's discussion to a close. What we know for certain is that with innate opportunity for growth in the MENA region, we must work together to make sure that growth occurs for all the long term. And this means, I think we can glean from this discussion today, this is a collective opportunity, a regional market opportunity, not just an international one, a shared commitment to invest in infrastructure, hard and soft, to support the movement of people from as well as coming into this region. A collective approach to enabling policies aimed at strengthening mobility, security, intelligence, trade and investment. That came up a number of times today. And with the application of shared intelligence and technology to step change opportunities and insulate against risks. I think what I've I've got from this, and I hope that you guys have as well, is the sort of critical idea that we know that we will continue to face challenges that will negatively impact the image of MENA. That didn't really come up in this conversation necessarily today, but we came into this knowing that. But I think standing side by side to support those in trouble as a regional collective is one that should be supported. When one suffers, to a certain extent, MENA suffers. And I think that would be certainly an agreed fact around here. The industry needs to work together, especially in the UN's International Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development, to get the message out around the critical part that tourism plays for this region, economically, socially, culturally, environmentally, and competitively. And the issue of technology was a fascinating one, which was developed at length here towards the end. From me, shukran to the UNWTO for the pleasure of being your moderator once again today. I think you'll agree, Taleb, this is a good crowd, right? Excellent crowd. And thank you, of course, again, and all of you here who've worked with and will work with going forward, CNN. We really, truly do appreciate the opportunity to play a role as a partner in your industry and in helping the tourism industry grow. So without further ado, that just leaves me to hand back to the SG.
Thank you so much, Becky. Once again, you've succeeded to connect the world, so to speak. And your skill and your charm has been overwhelming. Thank you so much, Becky. You know, I just have two thoughts to share with you. One is that we've been able in this very short period of time to achieve a very remarkable result. You have proven us correct. We have been able to try to identify the priorities and the challenges of the travel and tourism industry for the coming 3 to 5 years. And only at the beginning of this year did we arrive at the conclusion that there are 3 major challenges. One, to promote safe, secure, seamless travel. And we did touch on that, and we did see how important this is. 2, to examine the impact of IT technology on our industry and how it has changed the marketplace. And 3, sustainability and the challenge to face it. So it's security, technology, and sustainability. And we touched on all 3 of those in a quite an intelligent and in-depth manner. Let me also, my second thought is to go into some of the sub-themes that were covered in this very short but effective and efficient hour and a half. We talked about the importance of regional cooperation and interregional domestic tourism. It's absolutely crucial and important. No country, no destination that is not enjoyed by its citizens can be enjoyed by the visitors. We have to start with ourselves. We have to go to our neighbors and then approach the outside world. This is a crucial thing. And I think there is a growing consciousness and awareness of the importance of this thing. We also talked about the importance of visas and air connectivities. And I'm delighted to have some of the most important, effective, and successful airlines representatives here with us. 3, we talked about the human resource and the impact of technology on that. And on human resource, I don't think there is anything that's more important than in sustainability than to educate and raise the level of efficiency and raise the level of effectiveness of our young people that are traveling and leaving our region, going to all other regions of the world because they do not have the right opportunities to do so. The last but not least is the issue of technology that we talked about, and particularly on innovation. I must admit here that we owe to look, as the tourism industry, we owe to look at the aviation industry. If we really see how much progress the aviation industry has made in the last 20 years, and just compare it to what our travel and tourism industry has been gone through, we will see the difference. We all are from a generation that still remembers where tickets were handwritten. Today, this is not thinkable at all. Who would have thought 10 years ago that you could do check-in online, choose your seat, and move on it one way or another? Until today, you cannot choose your room when you check into a hotel. We're still way behind in the hospitality industry than the aviation industry, although we belong to the same family. The content, the focus on technology the emphasis on technology and innovation. I'm very happy to have Antonio de Avila here, who's heading a very important center in Spain on innovation, that we should always look at each other and cooperate in that regard. I thank you all very much. It's been a wonderful experience. Thank you all for being with us, and see you next year. Bye-bye.